Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today I am sharing a snippet with you from a coaching call that I did earlier on this week, and this is from one of the sales roleplay coaching calls that I host within my product, I Close Capital. Now, I am telling you, if you pay attention to what is going on in this roleplay and you really digest the information that I'm sharing, this is going to put you in the position where you do not need to use scripts at all. All of the elite closers in this space, whether they're business owners or whether they are just strictly closers, they don't use scripts. They just understand the fundamentals around sales. They understand the first principles around sales to be able to control the conversation, be persuasive, and move the call in the direction of the close. And so in this snippet, you are going to see me breaking down what the closer in this situation is doing well, what they're doing wrong, what alternative pathways they could have taken to be able to change the other person's perspective faster. Now, just to give you a little bit of context on what is actually taking place in this role play, you may have heard of this before, you may not have heard of this before. We are doing a convince me otherwise role play, aka one person is taking a particular stance and the other person is taking a different stance, and it is the role of the closer to change that person's perspective. Lastly, to give you some extra context on what is going on, so the closer is adopting the viewpoint of you should move out of Dubai and come back and live in Ireland. Both of these guys are from Ireland, and the person who is being convinced is adopting the viewpoint of, no, I actually love Dubai, I think it's great, I don't want to come back to Ireland. Again, this is a role play, so sometimes, we're dealing with hypothetical situations. Not everything that they are saying is true. It's not necessarily their steadfast beliefs, but I promise you, if you go through this, you'll gain a ton of value. So like the video, subscribe if you want to increase your sales conversion rate and to close more deals on a daily basis. And I hope that you enjoy.
This is kind of
and I mean, the way you're describing it does sound pretty good. But I mean, do you see yourself staying there for the rest of your life?
I think I could see my footprint being kept here in a business sense.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here because I'm giving Aaron a little bit of guidance in the background. The reason why this question didn't land is because it wasn't loaded. So if you'd said to Frank, can you see, okay, Frank, I guess the quick question that I have for you is, can you see yourself living in Dubai, like having to suffer the insufferable heat for 3 to 4 months every single year, barely being able to surf outside, like for the next 25% of your life, knowing that you're going to be under that oppressive sun? Can you see yourself living in that for the next 30, 40, 50 years?
No. And
it changes the question so much, because I'm bringing all the negatives to the table so that he's focused on that instead of on the positives. So this is where, as I haven't sent it to you yet, just sent it to you now. You want to focus on the negative things that exist within Dubai and start bringing them into the conversation. In the same way that I did when we did the motorcycle roleplay, right? And I was like, but do you really enjoy like having to get into that suit and you're sweaty, probably going on a date or maybe going to work, and by the time you get there, you're dripping in sweat? Like, is that enjoyable? No, it's not.
Okay, and so was it a bad question to ask him what he likes about Dubai? Is that bad?
No, it's been good, but the conversation isn't moving anywhere.
Okay.
And so what you want to start doing is using loaded questions, which is basically what I've just explained to you, so that you can start pushing the conversation in a specific direction. Let's continue.
And Frank, you're saying the heat when you landed in August. Man, how many months of the year is it like that?
For 3 months of the year for the summer. But I mean, at that point, we could just take our holidays and leave and then come back. That's generally what people do. So I guess in terms of sacrificing 3 months of heat compared to, being back home with the weather being probably damp, drizzly, miserable for 7-8 months of the year, I'd take that over Ireland any day.
Fair point, I guess. Okay, and so then when it is...
Okay, I'm going to jump in again. This is being discerning, because they're not the same. I get the point that Frank is making. He's making a straight comparison of, in Dubai, it's really hot, and in Ireland, it's really rainy. If you actually had to pick, right, an environment where you were going to be stuck in, where you had to put up with a little bit of drizzle and maybe it being a little bit grey, but you can go outside, you can actually just like crack on with your life and things are fine. It's a little bit unpleasant, but you're all right. Versus not being able to step outside because you will cook under the sun, like probably only being able to be outside in the sun for like an hour max, and you're really going to struggle. It's not the same. And so you had an opportunity there to actually turn that point on its head and challenging on it to be like, no, are you sure? Because I'm not sure. Here's where the loaded questions come in. You could literally give a binary question. Okay, I hear what you're saying, makes a lot of sense. Little bit of a strange question, Frank. Let's imagine you decided to go out with your mates, right? Don't know, you're going down to the pub, maybe you're going for lunch, maybe it is just a case of you're meeting up with an old friend that you haven't seen for a long time and you want to go for a walk to catch up. What do you think you would find more uncomfortable? You're going for that walk and it's a little bit drizzly, it's a little bit grey, just typical UK vibes, or going for that walk in blistering heat where it feels like your skin is crawling, you're sweating buckets, probably wetter than you would be if you were in Ireland because you're sweating so much. Which situation do you think you would enjoy that walk more?
It's Ireland all day, because
right?
Actually precise within 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah. So to the whole way through the conversation is going, you have to be discerning and look at what he's saying and constantly be asking yourself those internal questions. Is that true or is that not true? Okay.
What actually, maybe I don't understand what discerning means.
Just pay attention to what is going on and assess whether or not it is a reflection of truth. It's probably a more concise and simple explanation than that, but yeah.
Fair. Okay. Okay.
It's just, is what he is saying true? That's it.
Or am I just myself?
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
All right. And so, Frank, from what I understand, like a lot of people who go to Dubai and anywhere around the world actually do end up back in Ireland. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they end up back in Ireland?
Great question. I think it has to come down to your identity in the country you're living in. As people from, the UK and Ireland have a very proud heritage of where they came from. It's in our history. I guess you don't have it here. You're never going to be a citizen. You're never going to be a part of the country's history or culture. It's designed that way. It is designed to be that way. You will never be one of them. You are just a person who works here, and I guess it is kind of set up to only have you for a certain amount of time. Also, the fact that Dubai doesn't have any OAPs, essentially because they're not useful for the workforce, and you're not allowed to drive in the UAE if you're over the age of 72.
Okay.
Strange. So I guess it is designed that way. So it's kind of designed for you for such a way to, this is the path that we're all on. Whether you stay for 5, 10, 15 years, ultimately you might go home one day. And I think that's always in the back of your mind even before you come, because.
Okay. And so you were working as a barber there. You were cutting Charlie's hair, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to jump in again. This is similar to what I was saying to Attila last week. We're skimming stones, right? That is a huge angle. You've found a point of leverage. Go deep. Frank, how does that make you feel? Knowing that you're living in a country where, by the sounds of things, you're not particularly welcome, right? How does that make you feel? Knowing that you're living in a country where, by the sounds of things, it seems like they just kind of want you there because of what you can contribute to the economy and not much beyond that. Frank, how does that make you feel if you are planning, as you said, to live there for the rest of your life, knowing that they don't really seem to want to have old people there? Does that align with your goals for retirement? There's so many different angles that we have around this to twist the blade and create pain and highlight to him. Are you sure that this is where you want to be? Again, it comes back to this discerning thing. Look at what he is saying through the lens of your objective. Is there an opportunity here for me to bring him closer towards my perspective of, no, I don't think this is the right thing for you. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise what will happen is you'll just go from point to point to point to point, and you'll highlight certain things, but it's not going to be enough to shift his perspective. Okay, but do you see the second comment that I wrote for you, Aaron?
Yes.
Go down that pathway, okay, and explore it deeply. Obviously, could be somewhat sensitive conversation, so bear that in mind. But this, again, another big angle, okay?
Okay. And Frank, do you mind me asking? Do you have? Are you single or are you a girlfriend, or what's going on over there?
Single. I had a partner out here, in my first year and a half, but currently, well, yeah.
And where was she? Was she from Ireland or was she from Dubai? Or
she was British background, but from Nepal.
Oh, very cool, very nice. Okay, and so in general, then, because you're single, what would you say the women are like over there in Dubai?
Good question. Tricky. You can't paint everyone with the same brush, but from my experiences, just to even give an example of that person I was with it was only 6 months. I guess my experiences haven't been too great. She brought me into a jewelry shop after knowing her for 2 months and had us look around for bracelets and jewelry and things like that. And I thought, what are we doing in here? So I'll meet you outside. And that's
okay.
Fine.
And sorry?
It's longer after that. So a lot of learning for sure.
And is the majority of people like that, or was that once off, or what's that kind of?
Yeah, kind of hard to say, to be honest. I guess not everyone is going to be like that. Statistically, like the odds of that happening. But I guess Dubai can have an effect on people. For sure, it can kind of twist their expectations of a partner and what they must provide and the level you have to be at. It's a very big competition-esque atmosphere. I don't go out personally. I don't drink. I haven't drank for quite a while, so I don't go out. I don't party. I don't go to nightclubs. I used to, but I feel like it's not the place that you're going to find a long-term partner, to be honest. So that's not where I go and frequent to find them.
Do you think Dubai is a place you could find a long-term partner, or a good place to find a long-term partner?
Aaron, how could you phrase the question better? Right, because Frank can say yes to that. Basically, if you listen to what he said, he said, I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush. I'm sure that, I can't say that everybody is like that. So with how you have phrased the question, he is going to say yes.
Okay.
If you're listening to what he's saying. So how can you phrase the question in a more loaded way, or through binary questions, to ensure that you get the answer that you want?
Okay. Maybe something like, and compared to Ireland, where people are more maybe family centered, less materialistic, would you say that is a better place to find a long-term partner compared to Dubai, where you're saying people seem to be more interested in money or status and things like that?
In a family sense, for sure. Yeah, you're going to find it pretty much in every other country in Europe, I would imagine. It's more normal. It's a lot more normal. The lens is very skewed here in the dating scene and the relationship scene. I've heard some crazy horror stories of infidelity, but we won't go there. But that happens everywhere. But the odds of it happening here are a lot more high. They're a lot higher than they would be, I would guess, back home. It all depends on the scene you're in. I feel as well. I think, yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry.
And with the values that you have, Frank, growing up in Lahinch and having family so close and everything, do you think you would find someone more aligned with your own values in Ireland at home or anywhere in Ireland compared to Dubai or even Europe?
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah. To that align with my personal beliefs. More traditional, I would say. But yeah, I would say so.
And
Yeah,
would you say are you looking for a partner?
currently no. Currently no. Do you mean in general or
That question I should have. Well, hold on. Do you see yourself being single for the rest of your life, or
no?
okay? And so this is hard. And so
when it comes time to find a partner, is it going to be a case of now you can go really loaded? You're going to have to trawl through all of these girls who are going to take you to the jewelry store, every after the third, fourth date, so you can buy them a bracelet? Or is it going to be a case of realistically, Frank, you think you'll probably find your future wife in another country, whether that's Ireland or not? Right. Another angle that I want to bring up, Aaron, is go down family pathway, right? Because if we're talking about value systems and the women over there or the general values that are held over there don't really align with Frank, what impact does he think that that's going to have on his kids? You could even go down specifically the pathway of the daughter. Would you be comfortable raising your daughter in an environment like that, where she's more likely, by the sounds of things, to become spoiled and materialistic than she would in Ireland? Would you be comfortable raising your son in an environment like that, where to a large extent it seems like his only value is determined by his worth and not by his character? So you're starting to see how deep we can go with just one point to really reframe somebody's perspective.
And I feel like on a sales call, if you're going that deep, you must get pushed back often. No?
Would have got me to on that one.
Yeah.
Because my plan is to not have kids here, for sure. I couldn't raise a boy here nor a girl, I think, because it's just a bubble and it wouldn't give them the actual tangible worldly skills that you need to be able to, street skills, I would say, is put it simply. I just, the kids here don't have it. And that would be a big one for me, actually. Yeah, kids, it would be major. So you think by asking those questions, you're going too far, you think you might get pushed back. That would get me to really hit home like, oh yeah, no, I would not have kids here for sure. Definitely not.
Okay, so that now is concrete enough for us, because basically what he's saying is, I'm not going to live that long term.
Yeah.
So now we have shifted his belief on that piece of, okay, you're not going to live in Dubai. So where are you going to live?
There you go.
Right? Now we've taken a massive step forwards in the conversation. It's not necessarily we can make the jump all the way to you're coming back to Ireland, right? But we're a lot closer. So let's continue from that place of, okay, fine. So from what I'm understanding, it seems like you want to enjoy yourself in Dubai for a little bit longer, which makes sense. Earn your money, all of that type of stuff, be able to go down to the beach, enjoy the luxuries, cool. But long-term vision doesn't seem like it really aligns. So what is actually the plan? Are you planning to come back to Ireland? Would you even here, right? So now we know this is where you have to pay close attention. You need to get into his head, his way of thinking. Because what it suggests to me thus far, based on the conversation, is that he does care about family values, all of those types of things. So now we can go down the pathway of, in terms of when you're raising a family, Do you think that your kids would value being able to be around their grandparents? What, or if we didn't even want to go there too quickly, because that might be a little bit abrupt, we could go strategic question. What, I know that this is a little bit of a curveball question, Frank, here. What would you say are some of the core values, some of the core lessons that you learned from your parents that you really felt have helped you in life? X, Y, and Z. Now we can go, and I assume that those are also similar lessons that you would want to instill into your children, right? Yes, 100%. Do you think that your kids would be more likely to adopt those values if they would just binary question? Do you think that your kids would be more likely to adopt those values if only you were teaching them to them, or if it was you and also your parents, and then being surrounded, if the values align here, I'm outside of the script, if the values aligned here with Irish culture, but also being in a country that embodies those values? Well, obviously the latter, right? So this is where you're thinking multiple steps ahead of where you are in the conversation. Okay, but let's continue.
Okay. Okay, and so yeah. So you said you're not going to live in Dubai for forever. So I guess when you what fuck man, what age are your parents, Frank?
Oh man. Mom was born in 64, dad was in 66. I'm gonna try now.
I don't know my parents' age either.
I know the year. I think 64 and 66 is their date of birth. So they're in their early 60s.
And retired?
No. Well, yeah and no. Interesting one. Both yeah, dad was a scaffold, worked for the civil service in revenue, retired early, and now they have a bed and breakfast that they operate for a couple of months of the year for the high season, and then they shut down and then they take their break. But yeah.
Very good. And so did you tell me you're an only child earlier, or?
Yeah, currently, yeah.
And I mean, as they're getting older, not retired, still working, when they start to maybe slow down a bit, do you feel responsibility to maybe help them out or give them a hand, or?
Absolutely, I think about that quite a lot. Yeah, I think everyone should though. Would you agree?
I absolutely. I mean, my family moved to Canada, was living the high life, like swim pool, all that, and my mom came home because she wants to be close to her parents, and now we live about 200 meters away in a much smaller house, but my mom is much happier. So it's that's mainly why I was kind of asking. And I mean, you said you wanted to have kids at some stage and raise them with similar values to yourself. Was that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, being close to home, I guess that would give you the opportunity to be able to support the family, your parents, if needs be, but also showcase to your kids how you grew up, how you lived, and the values that you aligned with. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think the values that were instilled to me as a kid, I'd like to pass them down and keep that continuing for sure, because I think there are very strong traditional family values, and the way I was raised, I would like to raised pretty right, and every parent does the best they could. It's their first time being a parent as well, so nothing is perfect in terms of, but overall a very good, strong upbringing, and I would definitely like to instill that into my kids.
Absolutely. Sure. And I mean, so when you think about the places where you're going to raise a family and you're evaluating the different places, can you think of anywhere else that would be better in terms of aligning with your values, the benefits of being able to help your family? Is there anywhere else that you think would be more suitable?
Other than Dubai or other than Ireland?
Other than Ireland, sorry.
Ireland. No.
Okay. And so then...
Okay. You're doing a great job, Aaron. Okay. So now we have got confirmation to a slight extent. Actually, Frank is open to coming back to Ireland. It does seem like it aligns with him. So now we need to figure out why he hasn't come back to Ireland, and then tackle those individual things to complete the cycle. So that's what I'd make a statement of, okay, let me know if I'm wrong here. By the sounds of things, then it seems like there's quite a few different things that actually do align with you, your future, what you want to accomplish, that might lead you back to Ireland, right? Is that correct? Yes. So what is it in particular about Ireland that has prevented you from coming back sooner? And then we can start tackling these things, okay? I hope all of you can see, if you're being strategic and careful with how you approach the conversation, it is actually very easy to change somebody's opinion. So I'm sure that Frank, to an extent, is having
come back next week.
And he's like, maybe I should come back. It's about, again, this is targeted conviction. This is what we are doing right now, because these points are landing again and again and again and again, because we're using active listening, because we're being client orientated. You're putting yourself in his shoes and looking at the world through his eyes, which helps to inform what questions you should be asking to get him to where you want him to be. Okay, but let's continue. Doing a good job, Aaron.
Okay, so I mean, it does sound like Ireland does align with you further down the line, like when it comes to raising kids and when your parents get older. I guess, what do you feel may have been stopping you now from moving back to Ireland more recently?
Good question. And I think the reason I haven't moved back sooner is because the 3 years that I've spent in Dubai have made me realize, when I left it for a month, I realized I actually built up a very, very decent life. And then touching back to, it's actually very hard to leave Dubai. When you pull that trigger, I mean, to leave, I've heard it countless of times. People go back home to Ireland, but then they come back to Dubai after about 6 months. They just feel like it's so hard to integrate back into the society. Maybe that's a personal thing for them. I mean, I haven't done it, but I feel like when I do make that decision, it's going to be a final decision when I do go back home. So make no mistake, I guess in time, when it's the time, who knows when it'll be. I think I could possibly see myself back in Ireland if I have kids, when I have kids, probably when I have kids. And it would be a disservice to my parents if I didn't raise my kids around them. And I guess the reason I feel like that is because, yeah, currently an only child, wasn't always an only child. So fast forward, I feel like I owe it to them, and it's just me left. Okay. And I need to do that for them. And I do think about that quite a lot. And I think, yeah, I'd like to go home, but it's not the time right now. I still have money to make. I still have a career to build. I still have to do things that are more not opportunistic, more of an opportunity in Dubai. It's not really there now, I feel. And I think that's why I have to America, Canada, Australia, Dubai, England, UK, even Spain. Like, Ireland is, as a country right now, probably wouldn't be the best place to be in terms of, not much opportunity right there.
And so if I'm hearing correctly, you mentioned a few things there. I just want to take it step by step, because you touched on a lot of good points. Just to take at the start, it seems like community is a big aspect for you for enjoying the place. And when you went to Bali, that you didn't have any of it there, and you were missing it, and you wanted to be back in Dubai. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Would you say that was a similar feeling you had in Dubai when you initially went to? In Bali, when you initially went to Dubai and you didn't have that community aspect built up just yet?
Yeah, that's a good correlation, I would say. Yeah, it's something new.
And would it be fair to say then, if you were to move back to Ireland, it would be different, because you do already have that community set up there? You do already have, I'm not sure if some friends are still around, but family definitely still around. And so maybe that feeling won't be there, that you're missing the community aspect.
Fair. fair to say that. I would say you would just kind of slot back into where you left off.
And okay, and then in terms of making money and accomplishing what you want to accomplish in life, like I completely understand that. I'm in the same boat as yourself. I guess, is it fair to say, like, recently you're looking for a sales role, a remote sales role?
Correct?
And would it be possible to do that job while in Ireland, the way things are going online, to be able to work, develop your career business wise, and be in Ireland, or is it impossible?
It's possible, but I mean, I've gotten so used to no tax that it will be hard. But I guess at some point you're just going to have to suck it up, pay the tax if that's where you want to be full time. But there are benefits at the same time of being in Dubai. You can have a business set up and your footprint here, and you can go back to Ireland for 182 days a year. And that might be good for the short term. But as for the long term, of course, yeah. When I get
Okay, I want to jump in here. Aaron, fantastic. Fantastic. I could see where you were going from your first question. That was strategic questioning. Sick. Really good job. Now, this is where, again, I'm saying be discerning. Frank has said he's concerned about the tax side of things. What objection is Aaron dealing with right now? What objection is this? Is it a product objection, value objection, money objection, partner objection, time objection, or a fear objection?
money and fear.
Well, that would be value.
I would personally say it's value, right? Because you're saying I wouldn't be taxed being in Dubai, or I would pay less tax from being in Dubai. So now what I want to do is quantify that amount that he would be getting taxed in Ireland, and what, from a value standpoint, does that mean to him? AKA, is being around your family, being able to be with your parents, being able to be with your school friends, your old friends, being able to be in a country that does align with your values, being able to be in a situation where, by the sounds of things, you'd be more likely to find your ideal partner. Is that worth paying an extra, I don't know what the tax difference is, but is that worth paying an extra 10, 15% in tax to you or not? I guess ultimately, now really closing off the conversation, what is more important to you, having that extra 10, 20, 100K in your bank account, or the happiness that you experience on a daily basis? Really difficult for him to say the 100K when I do it through that lens, right? So this is another thing. When people are talking, pay attention to what they're saying, but pay attention to the intention behind their words as well. What do they mean? If you can start hearing what people mean instead of just what they say, you're able to cut through the noise a lot faster. So I hope that you got a ton of value from this video. If you haven't figured it out already, I post every Tuesday and every Thursday, so subscribe if you did think that you got a lot of value from this, because I have got so much more waiting in store for you to help you to increase your sales conversion rate. If you liked the video, then like the video. And if you would just prefer to put yourself in the position where you're not trying to disseminate and understand all of this information from YouTube, and actually just have me in your corner, the guy who was Charlie Morgan's top sales rep, who has coached well over 750 business owners, agency owners, coaches and consultants, and closers at this point in time to increase their sales conversion rate and make way more money, there is a link in the description to book a call. But with all of that said, I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you just